Well, good morning, everyone. As Mike said, we have a busy schedule today. We have 9 of our 12 missionaries are actually here. Actually, 10 of the 12 are being represented. So we have a good number of people to get through today. Just want to thank you all for being here on our Mission Sunday. We do have nursery coverage for if that's needed. We have nursery folks back there to help with that. We will not be having the children's church and we won't be having life groups today. We will be having our partners share with us, and then we will go directly into a lunch for those that are here. Sorry for the folks on Zoom, but we're going to have our meal directly after this. So we ask that you all would come and stay with us. I'll get right into it. You guys don't need to hear me talk. But our first missionaries that we have up today are in person, and they are Wilby and Lisa Romaine, and they serve through LAFWA, and LAFWA was started in 2013. And Wilby and Lisa help to minister to the Dominicans and the Haitians in the Dominican Republic. They have came back to the States, and they're fortunately able to be here with us. So you guys come up and share with us.
Good morning, everybody. We are so happy to be here with you all this morning in this special moment, able to share with you about our mission. This morning we have with me, my family, I have my wife Lisa, and we have 3 kids, Ruben, Gideon, and the oldest one. He's not here with us this morning. He's joining the military, so he's in basic training right now. Uh, so I know he always asks, pray for him because it's not easy. Uh, so my wife and I, we leading a ministry called Lafwa, mean Haitian faith and Haitian Creole. I know many of you know already knows us, and being in the Dominican has been fun. But I know there's so many years you haven't able to make it back there. We would love to see you there soon as possible. We have 3 churches. We plant Haitian churches in Dominican. So right now we are working with 3 churches, and so all those 3 churches, 100% they're Haitian. We do services in Haitian Creole and French. And also we have, there's 2 of these churches, they have Haitian school for the Haitian kid who live in the Dominican. Uh, it's kind of like really difficult for the Haitian who live in Dominican attend Dominican school because they don't have like right uh, papers, document the school asking them for. But us as a ministry, we create a way for the kids still go to school even they don't have uh, right papers to attend the school. So if they end up go back to Haiti, so they can still go to school. And also we have a nutrition center in our in one of our churches school, but our desire to start another nutrition center there at the school, uh, we ask you guys to continue pray for that. And also, I don't know, maybe the church already shared with you guys, we moved here to the U.S. recently. Uh, we've been doing ministry over 17 years in the Dominican Republic, and so people there well trained. They do everything uh, by themselves, and we feel so proud of ourselves able to allow them to do the work they're doing. But now it's time for us to put our parts and fundraise to help the ministry to grow and kind of like raise the office, the ministry office here in the U.S. and to get more people on board and new contact. If you know somebody who wants connected with Haitian ministry in Dominican, send them to our way because we still need that. We have one of our goals. We want to build like a community center for the Haitian community. Right now, we are renting places for the churches, and because we have a lot of activities, wedding, and all kind of activities. Sometimes it's hard because our church is located in the Dominican community, and sometimes when we have so many activities, and we get really hate by the neighbors. They don't like that because we make too much noise. Or there's too many things going on. They don't understand what we're saying because most of the activities we do them in Haitian Creole. So our desire and our goal would love to raise fund and able to purchase land or building and to build a community center for the Haitian, for the Dominican, and also will be available for the Dominican neighborhood too. So I don't know. Is there anything you want to add? Okay.
So, what he was saying, like, there's a lot of activities going on in our churches. One of the things that we've been really blessed with by stepping away is seeing the leaders that we've prepared all of these years to really take hold of our that part of ministry and just go with it. And so we arrived in the States in March of this year. It's been pretty rough transition. There's a lot of options in the grocery stores here, but we're adjusting well. Our boys are going to a school that they really like, and we live in the Avon area, so not too far from here. But what I was saying is like, so when we arrived over the summer, so every Sunday through WhatsApp, our ministry partners or pastors in the Dominican will send like texts of like what took place that week or prayer requests or whatever. So we're super connected because of technology with them. And like to say that weddings have become an important aspect of our churches is an understatement. There's been so many weddings, and it's been a huge prayer request from many years because it wasn't necessarily something that was important to the Haitian community. And with us leading and going through like marriage booklets and workbooks, they've seen and grasped on the importance of marriage. And it's been really great to see. We've, the pandemic is what has like changed a lot in many churches. In our church, we really feel blessed. Our ministry really didn't suffer at all during the pandemic, which is only from the Lord. And we were able to, because schools were closed and everything was online, our nutrition centers were closed. And but we still had money that people were giving for our nutrition centers. And so we were able to take that money and bless the churches. So every couple of months, we would go to the store and buy mass amounts of rice and beans and oil, spaghetti, sardines, and just hand out these packets every few months, not just to the nutrition center kids, but to the whole church community. And so it was fun to see different ways to be creative with the funds instead of the same, like, okay, this is where it's going, this is where it's going. And to see the faces of those receiving it that, might not have a kid that gets it in the nutrition center, an elderly couple that, could use it too. We were able to use those funds to that. I don't know how many cans of formula we were able to buy and diapers because things shut down just like it did here. And Haitians live paycheck to paycheck anyway, very, very little income that they get. And now they're not working at all. And so there's a lot of Dominican people that would rent to our Haitian members, and they would kick them out because like, you know, there's no place, they weren't paying their rent and they're Haitian. And so it was their like in to say, well, sorry about your luck. Like you don't have money to pay rent, you know, you're done. And so we were able as a ministry also to step in and pay many members rents during those 3 months that everything was shut down. So we appreciate you guys. Our partnership with you has been lifelong for us. And, we just love being here and finally being able to like share with you personally and one-on-one. And we just thank you for the opportunity.
Next up, we're going to have one of our Zoom partners, Jeff and Amy Brake, are going to be joining us from their Colorado home. They serve with Mission Training International that equips and trains missionaries for the field. So Jeff and Amy, share with us, please.
Maybe we can have one of the other activities.
Okay, technology is beating us up a little bit. So we're going to change the schedule up a little bit. We'll get back with Jeff and Amy. The next person that we have that's in person is going to be John Snow, representing World Renewal. We also have, along with John, we have Rachel Ferguson here and Steve Turner with us. And Rachel will be has taken over Steve's past position. So, and World Renewal, John will be sharing with us from two of our missionaries that serve there, Telly and Heather Marias, and David and Ivana Taylor. And we both, we've all really been involved with that a lot. David was a member of this church at one point in time, so very familiar with World Renewal. John, just share with us, please.
All right, I got the stopwatch going, so hopefully it'll be okay. Woohoo! Bom dia. Good morning. That's what that means in Portuguese. If anybody doesn't know Brazil, the flag is up here. It's the green one with the yellow and the blue in the middle, the order in progress. Some of you don't know what the Brazil flag looks like. But welcome. Glad to have everybody here this morning. What a privilege it is for me to be here representing World Renewal Brazil. My name is John Snow, as we just said. My wife, Anna Paul, and our two children are in Brazil. I just got back 2 weeks ago just to kind of do the tour here. Ooh, I don't know. I can deduct 5 seconds, right? No problem. Anyway, but Rachel is going to be your key contact here. Anything you need on an ongoing basis. Rachel was on the field for 17 years in Brazil, knows everything about the mission down there. I keep her up with all the changes. Things are happening quickly. Steve's been around forever representing Brazil. Now he's so important. They've got him doing all the countries with World Renewal. But it's a great privilege to be here. World Renewal Brazil. Many of you know something about it. Anybody been to Brazil? Okay, we got 4 or 5. There you go. That's good. That's good. Some of you know it a little bit. But Telly Moraes, you guys know Telly Moraes, Pastor Telly? Okay, you guys have been supporting him for a long time. He said, big hug. Thank you so much. I said, Telly, what do you want me to share with everybody? He said, they want to hear from you. You got 5 minutes. He said, John, you've been working with me. I've been working with Telly for a long time. We went to Bible school together in 1990 up in upstate New York, and we planted the first 3 churches together. So I've been with Telly pretty much since the beginning. I took a 20-year interval in between. I left Brazil in 1998, after planting the first 3 churches and came back 3 years ago to Brazil. So I got a lot to say. I know firsthand what's happening on the ground, and I'm here to report what God is doing. This is a story of God's faithfulness. God is doing unbelievable things. We have gone through the greatest period of growth and church planting, and lives changed, lives transformed in the history of our mission. It is just been like a great time. COVID has had its problems, but I'm here to say that God is alive. God is working. God is working in lives, and things are happening. 3 years ago, when I got to Brazil, Telly and I got together. We prayed. They had said a few years before, John, I need you to come back. and we sensed the Lord bringing us back to Brazil. But when we got there, we just prayed. We just prayed that God would help us to get refocused. We've had this goal to plant 200 churches for many years, over 20 years, and you guys have been supporting most of that time. And people had gotten that goal right in front of them, and they're just a little tired. You know, people get tired in ministry, and you plant 28 churches. And you know, get a little tired with some of this stuff. So we got a little refocused and a little refreshing look on things. And by God's grace, in the last 3 years, we have 6 new church plants. And if you forget everything I'm saying, Rachel has just put together this book, okay? And we're going to have it at our display. Our display is all the way at the end. But it's going to talk about some of our most recent. We have 5 of our new church plants in here. We actually have 6 going, and we have another 7 in the pipeline. So by this time next year, Lord willing, we'll have about 13 new church plants in progress. And it's by subtle little changes we made, and people are excited now. We have actually grown amazing. Our seminary 2 years ago, right as we entered into the coronavirus crisis, we had 24 students. Right now, we have over 150 students, and we already have over 200 enrolled for next year. I mean, we're anticipating it couldn't get as high as 250. The ministry is training people at a level that's never been done before. And Telly just wanted to communicate to you guys his love for training, his love for discipling. We do 3 things at World Renewal Brazil. We do 3 things really well. We do evangelism and discipleship. We call it impact ministries. Some of you participated in impact ministries. Impact ministries goes out and evangelizes the communities. And we do discipleship. Dave Taylor, who you know, and I'll be talking about Dave a little bit more, Dave Taylor works with Glory Sports. He does mixed martial arts, as many of you know, and he does lots of recovery programs, lots of discipleship programs. Dave is one of my impact team members. I would be considered his upline in how you work with that. Dave is a great guy, but the ministry is growing like crazy. The second thing we do is we do training at a higher level, a ministry training and development level. That's where our seminary is. That's where we have advanced training courses related to, seminary training and missionary training. Telly, I want to let you know that we're not only just doing theological training, we're getting ready to turn the corner and get into more basic missionary training. We need a slew of church planting pastors. By God's grace, we have identified a need to go to the closed countries of the world. We have 50 countries identified that are closed to the gospel, where you can't plant a church. And there's another 10 that are closing. There's 60 countries in the world where you can't have a church like this beautiful church here. You can't have pastors on staff. You can't have all the nice things that we have here. But we've identified those countries, and we've asked the Lord for 50,000 workers. And by God's grace, we're going to send them from Brazil to the ends of the earth. Why? Because the world loves Brazil. The church is growing at the fastest pace in its history. And Brazil is getting ready to prepare workers. Our seminary is prepared and is training workers. Lord willing, imagine training 200 workers a year to go into ministry full time. That is exciting. Telly wanted me to tell you the most significant fact that he's really proud of during all this time he's been supporting him. 90% of the people that came through our seminary were in full-time ministry capacity.
Yeah.
90%. That's an amazing number.
We're having some audio
He just
technical
loves training
problems. So
people. Telly is out there just preaching.
I can hear the speaker now. Can
He
you?
just loves you guys. He's so grateful for the opportunity. But the last thing that we're doing is a significant thing. We're growing so fast, we can't keep up in
Just want to let you know,
organizations. Now, if you
welcome.
give me a chance,
So
I'll
working
ask
on
you
it.
for
Let you
investment
know
in
you're
what we're
okay.
doing. I need monthly support. Rachel needs
All
it,
right,
all these good
thanks.
things. But we decided we needed to have a source of income in Brazil. And this is a third leg of what we do. It's called business as mission. Everybody know what business as mission is? Bam. Anybody know what that is? A few of you. We're using businesses to generate resources to fuel the work of the ministry. And one of the things I did, I'm from New Jersey originally. I spent 20 years doing business, high-end business. I worked for a national company. I was the top salesman in the country and loved what I did, but I did that as a full-time missionary because as a missionary, I almost always need to pay my bills. In New Jersey, the bills are pretty high. My property tax bill on a small ranch, it was almost $1,000 a month. So you have to pay your bills, right, Steve? and you know this happens in a way that only God could bring together. Business as mission is growing. Telly had started a Remax franchise to generate resources years ago. He has the international school now for 15 years, growing. In the past 2 years, I'm here to report, we have started 3 solar energy franchises, a recycling company, and now a home construction company to build homes and this. And they say, why are you doing that as missionaries? Simple. We put on, in the last 3 years, 17 new missionaries. I would love to trot every one of them up here to you guys. I mean, it's amazing what God's doing in the middle of the crisis, 17 new missionaries. And by God's grace, we're going to fully fund everything we need to do. So we actually have a total of 7 businesses. We have 3 more planned for next year. And it might make your head spin a little bit, but spend the time during lunch, come over and talk to me. I'll tell you anything you want to know about it because it's really connecting well. I spend my days discipling and mentoring new pastors and missionaries. That's what I do. But we find businesses, we get them started, we find the right people and get them going. I'm praise the Lord for David Taylor because David is a servant. You guys know David. David is really making a difference in the ministry down there. He just started, he told me last night, he said, John, we just started our second recovery group. He had 10 men in his first group. He's got 10 men in his second recovery group. It's called Transforming. It says Jesus Transforms is what it would be in English. But it's the transformation of a life, with drugs and all kinds of problems there. It is a problem. But, David's making a difference. And he just reported to me yesterday that this week he started his second year of what's the Fight Club. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of the Fight Club he's doing. It's a discipleship program with mixed martial arts. David had his first convert this week, came to Christ, a man named Inu. And Inu just pulled over his car listening to the discipleship material. And he prayed to receive Jesus as Savior. He was so excited to give his life to Jesus. And, David's making a big difference, in impact. He's going to be doing the impact ministry in January. We're going to have 60 young people. We're going to be doing work in 4 different cities in Brazil. We're near us. It's kind of like a gigantic city that has 4 different districts in the city. And David's going to be running mixed martial arts programs at all those locations. Lord willing, we're going to see 300-400 people come to Christ, and Lord willing, we'll be planting another 5 to 10 churches in the very near future. So come see me. Thank you so much for the time, and really, we love you guys. Appreciate the support, and Lord bless.
Breaks. All right. Looks like Zoom may be working for us now. We're going to go to the breaks. As I said before, Jeff and Amy serve in Colorado, Mission Training International, and they work to train missionaries for the field. So Jeff and Amy, share with us.
All hear us okay? We can't exactly tell if you can hear us, so we're going to go ahead and go as if we know you can hear us this time around.
Hi, we are the Breaks. I'm Amy Brake. This is Jeff Brake. You guys want to go ahead? Who are you?
Hi, I'm Lucy Allen Brake, and I am 5.5.
Okay.
I'm Gideon Brake,
And how old are you?
8, and this is my cat, he just got surgery.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us this morning. Still haven't confirmed for sure if people can hear us, but I'm hopeful. As they mentioned, we are at Mission Training International. We live in Colorado Springs, and the conference center is located just outside of Colorado Springs in Palmer Lake. And MTI is a place where I'll read you our little mission here, but our mission is to serve churches and other agencies by developing and equipping their long-term cross-cultural messengers of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I'll break that down for you a little bit. What that looks like is singles and couples and families come in for a month, and we have the privilege of helping to train them as they transition to overseas and cross-cultural mission work. So we have been here now for, I believe, 7 years, which is incredible, but we wanted to thank you. Well, this marks 15 years of your partnership with us. First, initially, I was a single. I went to Franklin College many, many years ago and then served as a single in Kenya. And then Jeff and I, as a couple, served in Russia for 6 years. And now we've transitioned to Colorado to equip long-term missionaries. So thank you so much for walking this journey with us. It's been a long road and you've seen us through a lot. God has done some amazing things due in part to your prayers and your financial support. So thank you very much.
We're really glad to share with you today a little bit about what God has been doing specifically in the last year. No one is surprised that we're in the midst of a global pandemic, and that has certainly affected the missions world. We have missionaries going all over the world who come through our training programs and our debriefing programs at Mission Training International. And a lot of them are stuck either in the places where they're serving or here in the States, unable to get to where they're going, or they were serving in a large country in the Far East and had gone to Thailand for a vacation and then wouldn't be able to get back into the country where they're serving. So there's a lot of limbo in the world of missions right now, where people are doing their best just to make it, let alone be thriving and doing some of the work they set out to do initially. A lot of people doing relief work to help out in the countries where they are. So we have definitely mobilized and changed some of what we're doing at MTI in order to help people in what they're doing. Largely the work that we do is in helping, coaching, equipping, and training missionaries, learning language skills and learning cross-cultural adaptation skills. And language learning skills are really different when you can't actually meet in person with people. So we've done things about working with and helping people to do language learning via Zoom or on telephone calls or things like that as well. So it's definitely been a very interesting, challenging year. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. I just want to sort of cast a bit of a vision with what we do. This is a world map that shows the countries that missionaries are going to just in the last 3 Compass programs. So sort of midsummer until now, it's still really incredible to see like a world map and to see the influence of what the gospel and to do in the world through our pre-field training program at MTI. We're just so awed at people's faithfulness and God's mercy and glory as we see the impact on the whole world of what's happening with the Compass program. In addition to the Compass program, we've had some really great opportunities with a few different types of things. I'm going to show you another slide. This past spring, I'm the representative from MTI for the International Congress on Language Learning. This is a congress that happens every 3 years of people in missions who do language training and language coaching work. And a typical ICLL you see in that first column has about 80 participants. Because of Zoom and this new technology we're all aware of, we did a completely online international conference this year. We were able to ask nationals who help our missionary partners come to this conference as well for only a $5 fee instead of a typical multiple $100 fee and flying all the way to the United States. And we saw our typical number being about 80 people to 282 people being able to attend this conference. So going forward in the future, our plan is to have a hybrid conference, not just an in-person conference, just because we were able to see the impact on nationals being able to be a part of this as well and to be encouraged in the work that they're helping do. Folks from closed countries logged in. It was really an incredible opportunity to come alongside nationals who are doing this work. One more really just quick thing that we did this year that we don't get to usually do, we call the Partner Retreat. And these are the agencies and churches that send people to Mission Training International, just their names, that shows we were able to bring in 11 different agencies to learn more about what MTI does so that they can continue working and developing their own people, working with missionaries and learning more skills. Go ahead and stop that share. We are so grateful and thankful to Franklin Community Church for your partnership. Enjoying even just naming off who we know in the audience from the backs of your heads, from the camera views. We can see it's like, oh, look who's over there. We're so thankful for your partnership and friendship and prayers and just the strong connection we feel with all of you. It's been a real blessing to partner with you. I think our time is rapidly running out, so many blessings and thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for what you're doing, and just know that your partnership is really helping missionaries go out all over the world and be faithful to the commission that we all have. So thanks so much.
All right, next up we have John and Ruth Martinez, who serve in the Dominican. They work with Go Ministries. And they actually empower pastors there to grow their churches and make disciples. So we've met John, this church met John in 2006, I believe, on our first missionary trip. And John's been with Go since 2001. So John, share with us what's going on.
Good morning, everyone from Franklin. We are so blessed to be here with you and sharing. In Haiti, they would say "Bonjour vous," which is "God bless you," or in the Dominican, where we work, mostly now since the pandemic, it would be "Dios les bendiga," God bless you. And I always let out with talking about a Bible verse from Genesis on missions, and always like to start that. But first, the first thing I got to share is my wonderful wife Ruth is here. Hi. And my daughter Abigail. And we are so grateful that Franklin is supporting us in service here on the island of Hispaniola. So the Bible verse is Genesis 12, 1, 2, and 3. And that's the first place in the Bible that Mish talked about. And every time that we come to Franklin to share, we always talk about that Bible verse. We're going to be talking, I hope, at Franklin sometime in November. So you all have a little bit of homework to go back and read Genesis 12, 1, 2, and 3. We serve with Go Ministries here on the island of Hispaniola, and that's been doing that since September of 2001. My role with the ministry is work with the teams that come down, and that's how I got to know so many of you. And I also work with the local leaders here on developing leadership skills and providing them with opportunities to develop those leadership skills. I also work with the Caribbean president named Edward Gabriel, and I'm kind of the eyes and the ears for Edward in him understanding American culture and how we as a ministry want to help him out and how we can work together and develop what the ministry that they're leading can do to bring more Christ here on the island of Hispaniola and in the United States. And I'm going to tell a story about that mutual transformation that we call it in just a moment. But one other thing that I also do is I work heavily with the pastors who are here in the Dominican. We are now over 100 pastors who we work with. And when I started here, there were 23. And we have started a campaign to plant 1,000 churches in 10 years. And that started in in January of 2017. So we're 4 years into it, and we have tripled in size. And we believe that it's going to go well beyond 1,000 churches that we're going to plant. So let me share with you a story about mutual transformation, which is what we feel we are led to here on the island of Hispaniola. A lot of times, groups come down, people come down to the island and think, how am I going to impact these people? And the reality is that it's a mutual transformation that happens. A lot of times Americans come down and think, okay, I'm going to serve, I'm going to give, I'm going to just pour out into these people. And they don't realize that they're getting much more in return. So let me just share a little bit about a girl by the name of Ashley who was here just 2 weeks ago. Ashley is from Wisconsin, and she is a dairy farmer. She works with over 85,000 cows in Wisconsin, and she did not want to come to the Dominican on a mission trip. Her church kept pulling at her to come. And finally, about 3 days before, she said, okay. And she was on the plane, and she came down. And when she came down, she said, I don't know what I'm doing here. On the third day of the mission trip, we had a plan that got scrubbed. We were supposed to go into and do prison ministry, and something happened that week where they shut down all the visits to the prisons, so we couldn't go. So we came up with a plan B to go and paint some houses in an area that we were planting a church in. And we're painting a house, and I heard someone yell from someplace, say, hey, Brother John, in English. And as I turned around and, with my paintbrush in my hand, there was a guy there who I hadn't seen in 2 years. And I start talking to him, and he has started a dairy farm with 9 cows. And I said to Ashley, hey, Ashley, how would you like to go and visit the dairy farm? And she said, sure, I'd love to go and do that. I have to give a report when I go back about what I've done, so that would fit in really nicely, and I can talk about what the dairy farms here in the Dominican are. So we went, we got to see the 9 cows that my first seen in 2 years, and we're leaving, and his wife kindly offers us some lemonade. Well, we sit down and we start talking a little bit more, and we find out that my friend who has built a new house, well, not built a new house, but added onto his grandmother's house on the property of the dairy farm, has also built a church. And so we started talking about that, and we said, why did you build a church? And he said, well, I've always wanted to be a pastor. And so we are getting him into the system of planting churches. And we believe we're going to have a good-sized church in the area that he's in, called Gurabo. And that all comes from, because this young woman named Ashley didn't want to come, and she heard God's call. She listened, and she was obedient to God's call to come on a mission trip. And one thing led to another, and God used her in a great way because she wanted to go visit cows. That is what missions is about. You never know where God is going to open a door to utilize whatever you have in your background to change someone else's life. How many lives are going to be changed because of Ashley? A lot. That's what we believe. So we beg of you to continue supporting missions and impacting the world just like the Breaks are doing. You support them, and they're talking about people from all over. And we need you to continue to support those missionaries all across the world, whether it's here on the island or in Colorado or in India or wherever else. But please continue to do that from right there in Franklin, because you're transforming the world. And we thank you so much for helping us do that here on the island of Hispaniola.
Thank you, Franklin.
And we hope to see you in a couple of weeks. I can keep talking, you guys know me.
Thank you, John. All right, next up is someone we have in person with us, and that is Eric Allen. He's the new director for CareNet, and we have had a long history with CareNet here at the church. We actually were part of the birth of that for the Johnson County chapter, and they helped to promote the sanctity of life for the unborn. So Eric, please come share with us.
Well, good morning. It's good to be here this morning with you all. And first things first, I want everybody to stand up just to give us a little change of pace here for just a second. And there's a purpose to my madness. Not very often is there, but really, I just want to get, I just want to get a photo or two of everybody and, technology today. But while you're standing, I want you to look around. And look at the people that are here and think of it. Just think we have 70-ish some odd people that are here, and imagine that number. Now double that. Let's say we have 80 some odd people here, and double that to around 175. Wouldn't it be great to have 175 here today? Wouldn't you all agree with that? Now, what if we took that and multiplied it times 10, and let's say we had times 100. Let's say we had 7,500. Wouldn't that be great to have here this morning, right? Well, it would be great. And actually, you can be seated, but as you look around, realize that you're 75-ish or whatever. If you were to double that, that's how many children were aborted last year just in Indiana alone, or just in Johnson County alone, with about 175 children's lives were lost before they were born last year in Johnson County. If you take that all the way times 100 up to about 7,700 people, that's how many were lost in Indiana. And so just a little name place of what it really means when you start thinking of numbers and faces and looking around the room and seeing how many are in this location alone. That's how many, if you doubled, would not be in this location. And so what we do at CareNet is we work with individuals, young ladies in families who find themselves in unplanned pregnancies and the challenges that they face in that. And one of the dominant things that happens in a young lady's life or in a family when they come with an unplanned pregnancy is when they come to CareNet, what they are usually feeling is fear. The fear is huge because they didn't plan this in their life. And so the reason why they're considering abortion is not a logical issue. It's not an issue of this is what I believe or I don't believe. It's an issue of I am scared to death and I don't know what to do right now. And I think this is the only way out. And so when they call our centers and when they come into our center, our goal is to help them find a way beyond their fear. Because the fear lies to them, right? Fear always does lie to us, doesn't it? It lies to us and says there's no other way. Fear tells them you can't have this baby because there's no way that you could support this baby. And fear lies to a boyfriend or significant other in their life and lies to that boyfriend or significant other and says you can't have this baby either, and tells the young lady that if you do have this baby, I'm gone. You're not staying with me. That's a number one factor in their lives, is not that they feel like they want an abortion. They feel like they don't have a choice otherwise because fear has lied to them. Fear has lied to that significant other and told them you can't stay in a relationship with me and have a baby either. And then there's the lie to the parent that might be involved that says to the young lady, you can't stay here if you have a baby, or the economic situation that's huge. I can't even afford my rent by myself, much less add a child to it and care for a child and all that. There's no way I can do it. And so that fear just is monumental. So you add all these fears up. That's the reason why they're seeking out to have an abortion. And so our goal is when they come to our centers or when they make that call is for them to find something totally different. And that is that one thing that is greater than fear. That one thing that the Apostle John said, that love drives out fear. And we want to show them that love and lead them to that love of knowing what it means to have something greater than fear in their life. And the only way they can do that is by coming and learning. And so when they call and one of our volunteer counselors answers the phone, or center directors answer the phone, and they talk to us. And when they come in, one of our goals is for them to realize something is different in their life, and that is that they actually matter. Because most of them come in believing they don't. And when they come in, they believe they don't matter. Until they know that they matter, they will never believe that their child that they're carrying matters. And so our goal is for them to know that they matter. So everything from that first phone call to visiting one of our centers, to that interaction of walking out the door, the goal is for them to know that beyond a doubt they matter, because when they matter, then all of a sudden their child begins to matter. And as their child begins to matter, then we can slowly show them a way beyond their fear. Now, there's several reasons why young ladies are struggling that I mentioned, but some of the reasons why they choose not to have a carry through on an abortion. And really, some of that is the love that we show and the care that they are shown to. But really, there's other factors that come into play, and that is when they realize that this baby they are carrying is actually alive and real. Number one deciding point for a young lady is the time of when they get to see an ultrasound. State of Indiana requires an ultrasound be had within 18 hours prior to an abortion. And so they have to have this ultrasound. And sometimes those abortion clinics are booked up on when they can get the ultrasound done. And so we want to be there to provide an ultrasound for them. And when they see that screen, you see, when they see the screen, when we have an ultrasound for them and they see the screen and they're shown an actual baby and they're shown an actual heartbeat, all of a sudden things change, because no longer is it just this thing. It's this baby that's alive. And when they see that this baby is alive, that's a deciding point for them. Very different than what an abortion clinic would do, which is they will carry out an ultrasound, but they will not show the screen. They will just tell them it's okay to have the abortion, because they don't have to give them the details of that. And so we have to be ready to show that, to give that ultrasound and provide that opportunity for them to see that they have life within them. And that means that we have to have ultrasound machines. That means we have to have ultrasound techs available or nurses who can carry those out. Today we have one ultrasound machine that we share between our two centers in Franklin and Mooresville, and our mobile center that travels to a couple other locations. And so we need to add 2 ultrasound machines to that. Really, we need to add, and our goal is to add 3D ultrasound machines, not just regular ones, but 3D, because really, I don't know if you all are like this, but my wife and I had our home movies, translated a couple of weeks ago, and we saw one of our babies, our children's ultrasounds, and I still have no idea what was on that screen, right? They show you this is the little, but today that's changed. And the technology is there, and we want to be able to do that. And so we have a need for 2 ultrasound machines. We have a need that's significant for ultrasound techs and for nurses and volunteers and for our mobile unit and drivers. We're desperately in need of drivers for that, to drive it to Edinburgh and Martinsville. And we need to add a center in Greenwood and a center in Center Grove area. And so a lot of needs that are there. And it's all because we need, above all, for 175 children not to happen next year in losing their lives. And you all have been a part of that, allowing us to grow and to meet the needs of these young ladies' lives. And so I just want to encourage you and thank you for being a part of what we do. And know that we are here in Franklin now. Our center is in Franklin, not in Whiteland. We moved here in June. We'd love to have you come and visit our center here in Franklin, and love to have you volunteer and serve. And please ask questions later on as we stay around to share some time together. I just thank you again for all your time.
All right, next up, ironically, we have Abby Beasley on Zoom. Abby is the wife of our associate pastor, Nathan Beasley, a member here at Franklin Community, and she is at an InterVarsity conference this weekend. She has been with InterVarsity for about a year now, serving on the Franklin College campus. And so we'd love to hear what's going on at Franklin College, Abby.
Hi, everyone. You good? Okay, perfect. Well, good morning. It's super weird not being with you guys. It doesn't really even feel like a Sunday to me, not sitting in the congregation with you. But if there was ever a good reason to miss a Sunday, this is definitely one. So for those of you that don't know what I do, I work as a campus staff minister for InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And I know that there are a lot of IB alums looking back at me right now, but I don't want to assume that everyone knows what I do. So InterVarsity is a ministry that believes in the mission of reaching college students. We want to reach them with the message of the gospel, because we believe that if you reach college students with the gospel, you'll reach the world, because they are the next generation of leaders. And I'm super passionate about InterVarsity because my InterVarsity chapter at Franklin College played a huge part in the deepening of my faith as a student. I came to college I knew who Jesus was, but I didn't really know that much about him. And I had never heard a Christian home before. And so they were my first Christian home. It was the first time in my life I had ever seen Christians even attempting to walk the way that Christ calls us to walk. And so that was a really transformational experience for me. And God met me in mighty ways in InterVarsity, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So thank you for your support in that. And I just want to take a minute to talk about why I'm not with you this morning. So we are currently having our Wonders Multiplied focus. Normally at our conferences, we focus a lot on training, like teaching students how to lead Bible studies or do evangelism on campus. It's usually like a really training heavy time. But at this conference, we're really focusing on rest, rejuvenation, and tearing down idols. Something that we have been noticing, and I know that we're all super tired of talking about COVID, but I think it's important to note this, that students are just exhausted. Like, they are at capacity in a way that I haven't been on staff super long. I haven't even really technically been alive that long. But students are just exhausted and at capacity in a way that a lot of my coworkers haven't seen before. And that capacity is like a lot lower than it has been in the past. They almost seem like a little emotionally stunted, a little like socially anxious. And they're like aware that their anxiety is higher. And I think that's then causing more anxiety. So students just very affected by the pandemic. And I think we all are, but students especially, I think, are sort of walking on the eggshells of like learning how to be adults and figuring out how to be social with each other. Like suicide rates are just climbing, and they already were even before the pandemic. And depression is its own sort of pandemic right now. And so I think that students really need hope more than ever before. They really need Jesus. And this conference is giving them an opportunity to meet God in a powerful way, to meet the God of Israel, of Abraham, of Jacob, the God of Jesus in powerful ways. And he is really showing up. It's wonderful to be at a conference in person. There's nothing like connecting with Jesus in community, and the students are getting to study lots and lots of scripture this weekend. And that's always better in person than via a screen. Not that God is limited by the screen, but we definitely are limited by a screen, I think. But yeah, we're just spending a ton of time in the book of Exodus. And students are learning about the plagues. They're learning about the hardening of Pharaoh's heart. They're learning hard truths about how God can use disasters and even hardened hearts to show up for his people in really powerful ways, powerful and miraculous ways. They're learning that pain isn't wasted and that nothing is lost. And so the time that they feel like they've lost in college, the time that they feel like they've lost in the show with other people, we really believe that God wants to use that for them and that God will use that for them. And I think that that's a message of hope that they need to hear. But I think in also spending time in Exodus and learning about the Egyptians and learning about how even the Israelites believed in these Egyptian gods, even though they believed in their God, the Egyptians would have also believed in God because they were polytheistic. And so we're seeing that like the Israelites are scared of these Egyptian gods, but God just keeps tearing down these Egyptian gods. He's saying, you know, your sun god, I'm just going to blot out the sun. The god of childbirth and the frogs, I'm going to show you that I have control of all of these gods, and I am more powerful than all of these Egyptian gods. And I'm the most high. I am the most powerful. And so I think that that's a message for us as well, that no, we're not worshiping the goddess of the frogs. We're not worshiping the god of the sun, but we are worshiping the god of consumerism and American nationalism and, the god of distraction. And so I think that we are really helping students. We're helping ourselves even. The staff have had this transformational time just listening to the Holy Spirit, seeing these idols that we have in our own lives and tearing those down and finding hope in the fact that our God is more powerful than that. And it is far more joyful to lay down our false gods and follow our God. Students are just meeting Jesus in really powerful ways. They're getting into scripture at length. They're learning skills about how to read the Bible well. And they're getting prayer from the team of us staff who have been in prayer ministry. And I think that's been really transformational as well. In terms of the students at Franklin College, I am blessed to have one singular student here at Fall Conference. President Prather's inauguration was this weekend, and a lot of students have jobs, but I have a freshman here. His name is David. And guys, I just want to, I can't express enough that David has had a really, really transformational time here at Fall Conference. I won't share the specifics of everything that God is revealing to him, but I will say that it is important that he's here. I think that David's life will be changed because of what he's experiencing at Fall Conference. And I have really high hopes for culture change at Franklin College because of David. Outside of this conference at Franklin College, we have 6 leaders, we have 4 active Bible studies, and 1 student making strategic plans to plant several Greek Bible studies on campus. Our strategy at InterVarsity is to equip students to share the gospel on campus within their own contexts, whether that's like a sport, their major, because we believe that the best people to meet students, to reach students, are students. And also we're equipping them to be able to be kingdom workers for the rest of their lives into adulthood. So I am so grateful for your partnership with me at InterVarsity. Your partnership is making such a huge difference in the lives of students and in the world as these students grow and as they enter the workforce or not, wherever they go, they're going to be making a difference for Jesus. You guys are one of the most generous churches I have ever known, and I want to make the same ask as John. Please continue to give generously to missions. All of the missionaries here on this call, in the room with you guys, everyone that you're supporting, I am listening to these stories of transformation, and I know that God is doing wonderful, wonderful things through the support that you guys are giving to missionaries. So please continue to keep that up. Thank you for your support of me to be able to do what I love and pour into students. You guys are so generous, and I love you so much, and I can't wait to be back with you guys next Sunday.
All right, next up, we have an in-person speaker, Dennis Towles. He is with the Wheeler Mission. He's our contact there with Wheeler now. That has been a local, long-lasting relationship as well for Franklin community. And so there at Wheeler, they help men and women find hope, provide them an opportunity for life change, and hopefully develop a relationship with Christ. So Dennis, speak to us.
Well, I appreciate you guys inviting me here. And the first off, what I'll say, and I'll actually echo what Abby said about your guys' commitment, your commitment to Wheeler. I was looking at some of the data. Next August will be this church's 30th anniversary of giving to Wheeler Mission. And that is really something cool to be able to celebrate. As you guys, some of you know, you supported Lighthouse Mission from about 92 to about 2006 when they merged with Wheeler, and then you guys have continued that. So the amount of money, and I won't tell you what that is, I don't want to wow you with that, but let me just tell you, it's changing lives, and that is really something that's important. So we just thank you for your, not only your large amount of giving, but the fact you've been so consistent with doing that. There is an incredible need for the amount of homeless folks that are in the Indianapolis and central Indiana area. And one of the reasons that it's so doubly important of your guys' faithful and continuous giving is that you guys may not know, Indianapolis is the largest city in the United States that does not have a government-funded shelter. So everything that happens at Wheeler is from donations from churches and individuals and businesses and things like that. So we count on your support to make a difference. And like has been said, to just offer hope. And something, I'll say something about what mentioned what Eric talked about, to show that these people, that they matter. One of the things that happens when you become homeless, look, you're homeless. You know that that's not the way it's supposed to be. So they lose their dignity. They lose their self-worth. And so one of the reasons that Wheeler Mission puts so much effort into the donations, the best of all the donations go to our guests. The best food service go to our guests, because that's in a small way, beside the biblical teaching that follows it, that's a small way to say, look, you matter. I may have no relationship with you at all as a Wheeler staff person, but yet I want to show you in every way that I can that you matter. And again, your guys' continued efforts to allow us to minister to them and allow God's grace and mercy to be upon them, to show them that, hey, the circumstances that you are in right now, this does not define you. Wheeler Mission has been around for, as a matter of fact, just about a week ago, we celebrated our 128th anniversary. And that is something that certainly to be very proud of. Hopefully we'll go another 128. And actually, hopefully there's going to be one day that the streets of gold will be opened and we're not going to have any reason to have Wheeler Mission. But between now and then, you guys, we'd like you to continue to give. We have 9 locations. Don't know if you knew that we had that many. 6 of them are in Indianapolis. 3 of them are in Bloomington. We have certainly we have the things that are the emergency temporary shelters for people can come off the street and just say, look, I need a shower. I need a bed. They're not required to stay any time at all. They can essentially come and go as they please. But then we have the residential centers that actually, when those folks say, look, you know what, this has got to stop. I've got to break this cycle of homelessness that is in my life. I have no idea how to do it. I don't even know where to start. So even in our temporary shelters, we have case managers meeting with these folks to try to figure out, where did it go wrong? Where did things get off track here? And as a matter of fact, just to kind of show you one of it, even being a staff person, there are times and situations I just go, how did that happen? I met a girl, she's probably in her late 20s, met a girl a month ago. She graduated with honors at a suburban Indianapolis high school. She graduated in 4 years with a journalism degree at a reputable college in Cincinnati. That was at 22. And at 28, she is substance abuse, been kicked out of her home, and she's on the streets. And in my mind, even though I work at Wheeler, I can't connect those dots. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, I don't care. She's in need. She needs help to be able to get back onto her feet. I don't ask, and Wheeler doesn't ask, well, how did you become homeless? Because we want to make a judgment call on whether or not you're worth helping. No, that doesn't happen. We don't care. We just want we want to reflect the comfort God has given us. Just 2 Corinthians 1 talks about, guess what? We're comforted so we can comfort others. And we have that opportunity, and we sit at a place in Indianapolis that allows us to do that, and your guys' contributions continue to let us function in a great way. The data for Indianapolis, I can throw out data, and sometimes I get a little worried about just throwing out numbers. They're impressive and they help tell the story, but quite honestly, it really just comes down to the one. If you guys gave to Wheeler and said, we only changed one life, not only the life that they lived here on earth, but also changed their life eternally, you guys would still sign up for it. You said, oh yeah, we made a difference. And that's what I'm I take to me is like, I may not be able to change every life. Wheeler may not be able to change every life, but we can change the lives that we come in contact with, that God providentially puts in our path to be able to do so. And in every single life, man, that's somebody's son. That's somebody's daughter. That's somebody's brother. That's somebody's father or mother. That's what ends up being personal. And that's what really drives us to change those lives, to give their lives hope. Any night in Indianapolis, there's anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 homeless in Indianapolis. That's an incredible amount. And even with the facilities that Wheeler has, we can only at best probably get maybe half of those. And then during the winter, the amount that we serve even escalates up. COVID, certainly those numbers were up. And so we make do. We can be very flexible. But the fact is, that's a lot of people that we can help. And again, your guys' gifts, your guys' prayers. We've got volunteer opportunities. We've got donation opportunities. We've got donation drives. All those things go together to help us make a difference, not only here to give them hope and give them dignity, but to be able to let them be assessed and say, hey, I think we know a way that you can begin to step out of this. And it's not just, and I find myself realizing it's not just the wins of a redeemed life that makes me want to come back to Wheeler. It's about the emails that I might get. I do some triage on our website of people that write in. And there's people that write in. A lady recently said, look, I've heard my son is there. He's a meth addict. I don't need to know anything about him, but I just want to know if he's alive. And I'm writing her back, have no idea who this lady is. I'm writing her back with tears in my eyes because I'm like, can you imagine the hurt of a mom just saying, look, I don't want him to do anything. I just want to know if my son is alive. So I get that to the right people, and they kind of, see their rosters to see if he's there. And now, again, there's some privacy things. We can't do everything, but we do have opportunities to allow that mom to find out, yes, your son is alive. He may be here. He may be there. He has been here. And I've got another one from a lady says, look, I'm 54 years old. I've just lost my home. I'm a heroin addict. I don't know where else to turn. And so we get them to the right person. And I can't tell you the number of times I've been answering these emails and then forwarding them on to the right people. And I just am absolutely weeping because here's a person I do not know, and yet it's a hurting world out there. And we just thank you for helping us use Jesus Christ as a way to heal those wounds and to redeem lives. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Jeff and Amy Cunningham out of the Louisville area with Team Expansion. and they help to train missionaries and church planners for the field. So Jeff and Amy, share with us, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, it's great to be with you all. And as was said, we are with Team Expansion, and we're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. And here is our training facility that we have on the southeast side of town. We work within that training facility and help train missionaries and send them to places all around the world, all around the globe, to do discipleship making and church planting. And one of the key things is we tend to work to send missionaries to what we call unreached areas of the world, and those are people groups that are 3% Christian or less. So we try to inject the gospel into many places where the gospel isn't or is still a very small part of the population there. One of the things I do is I manage our facility here in Louisville and help to train people at our 61-acre training center. And also Amy takes part in the trainings, and I'll let her explain a little bit about what she does.
So a few times a year, they have pre-field trainings for missionary recruits at Team Expansion. And I help with some of the more practical side of the training as far as preparing to get to the field. I also lead a class just for the women where we spend a couple of hours and they can just ask any question, name any concern that they have, and we try to address that. We talk through that and just try to share information and advice, and it's a discussion-based group just to help set them up to deal with anything that needs to be dealt with and to be able to thrive on the field.
Yeah, we've had, it's been a great year from the standpoint of we've been able to get back in person to do a lot of our trainings this year. We had 20 people that were at our training this summer that were prepared to go. We also work in partnership with other training organizations like Jeff and Amy out in Colorado. We partner with them so that our missionaries can get language acquisition. So it's great to see Jeff and Amy on here this morning. And yeah, we're also so inspired by everybody else and all the mission work that's being done here near and far away. And just want to thank you for your support and everything you've done for these missionaries, and pray that you can continue to be partners with all of these folks and us. One thing new that I've kind of taken on this year is going to different fields and working in cooperation with them to help them with their ministries. I've had 3 trips this year. Because this is live streaming, I can't mention some of the places by specific name, but East Africa and West Africa are 2 of the trips I've made, and I've been able to help with media projects. A lot of our missionaries reach out via social media to get in touch with seekers. So I've been able to visit to help with photography and video and audio to help them use this media to reach out and find persons who are seeking Christ. Also, one of the reasons we're not with you this morning in Franklin is I just got back Thursday night from another trip, and that was into the frontier area of the Amazon, in the area right where Peru and Colombia and Brazil come together. Team Expansion and myself and other partners are working on training local Christians there to reach out into the unreached indigenous tribes that still exist in that region. So just got back from that, and that was what I believe is going to be a great project working there with those people. One of the also highlights of this year was in our trainings, we've been training our daughter, Hannah. Many of you are familiar with our daughter, Hannah. She's our oldest, and she is training to go to the mission field. She's headed to Ghana, and that will be some February. She's looking to launch, and she's looking to join an established team there that is reaching out to multiple tribes and people groups in that region of Africa. So that's been a great highlight for us also. Another big project that Team Expansion is taking on, and that is helping with the disaster that's happened in Afghanistan and the flight of so many people from that country. We're looking right now to build partnerships in Pakistan, and with those partnerships meet the needs for those who are fleeing from Afghanistan and into Pakistan. And that's in development right now, but we hope to have some more people on the ground there very soon, helping to meet the physical, spiritual, emotional needs of the people in that region there. So once again, thank you guys so much for your support, for your prayers, and we appreciate you all so much. Thank you also so much to all the missionaries that are on this call and this gathering together for all that you, and we appreciate you all so much.
Yeah, we're really thankful just for the continued support of Franklin community, and just the prayers and the financial support. We couldn't do what we do without you all, and we're really thankful for that relationship. Just real quick, I'll add that because since we relocated to Louisville from North Africa a little over 4 years ago, because we get to live in Louisville, we live in a very multicultural internet area of the city where there are a lot of immigrants and a lot of refugees have been resettled. So that's just in addition to what we get to do with Team Expansion. We also get to live here and really serve the nations right here in Louisville, which is amazing, and there will be more coming. So it's a privilege to be able to be here and do that also. And just, yes, thank you so much again. We are so, so grateful for you and for your partnership in our ministry.
All right, last step this morning via Zoom is going to be Sham Mohan. No, I'm hearing no. Okay, so I guess that is the end of the sharing time that we have, correct? No one else on my list anyway. I wanted to take a moment to talk to you all. I mean, it's been a wonderful opportunity to hear from all of our mission partners, whether it was Zoom or in person. And we have been a very faithful church in our giving over the years that allowed us to we have 12 missionary partners. I wanted to mention the two that aren't with us today. Obviously, Sham Mohan, he serves in India with India Youth for Christ. He's been with them since 1994, and he works to help the youth of India to really develop their own relationship with Christ. So that's what Sham is involved with. The other two folks that weren't going to be with us this morning were John and Vera Sturry. They have served in Africa at most of their time has been with the Maasai people in Kenya. And now John and Vera are working as regional director of Africa, a little bit wider contact there. And they could not be with us this morning. And the last one would be David Joseph, who actually spoke here about maybe a month and a half ago from Alaska. So those are our 12 missionaries that we support at this time. And I just wanted to talk to you all. Everyone here that's with the church probably understands what these are, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention and maybe place it on your heart. What you heard today is what this work does. This is how we support those folks. We have the ability to support them with the funds that come from these cards. We also have the desire to pray for them. Through our life groups, we have all been assigned missionary partners. And through those life groups, we are to pray for them on a daily basis at home, but we pray for them weekly in our life group discussions as well. So you'll notice that on the cards that you have, whether you've gotten them through the bulletin, through mail, or there are some available at the end of the back of the sanctuary in the box in the foyer. You know, there's no name on these. This is a relationship, a decision that you make with the Lord to determine how much your funding is going to be. And you're accountable to him for what, you pledge. And that's how we use these pledge cards to determine the amount of funding that we have for our missionary partners. We use that to determine if we can bring on new missionary partners and continue the support and things. There are some now. Daniel has some in the back there if anybody needs them. Just wanted to thank you all for your time here. Thank you for your faithful giving over the years. And we just ask that you just pray to continue to do that.